Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock, and we are going live with Enguru. I hope this session is going to be helpful for all of you. So, my name is Xenia, and today the topic says add adjectives. Now, how many of you know what are adjectives? Adjectives are basically words that give more description or give more details about a noun or a thing, okay, a noun basically. So, when we talk about adjectives, now adjectives are often used in our day to day life, but most of us are stuck with words like good, nice, beautiful, okay. All right. Now, if you look at it carefully, for example, I went to Goa. Okay, very good. I went to the beach. Okay, very nice. The water was nice. The moment I say the water was nice, if you close your eyes, you really don't know what what I want to tell you. But if I tell you I went to Goa, the sea was brilliant blue, and the greeniness of the sand felt so nice. The water was neither cold, neither warm. It was just perfect. Okay. When you and the sky was blue. Now, when you hear these from me, you would be able to imagine absolutely what I'm trying to tell you. A nice beach with blue waters and blue sky and the greenness of the sand. So, what do adjectives do? Adjectives add more spice, more meaning, more imagination to what you are trying to talk about. Now, when we look at adjectives, there can be adjectives used for various reasons. For example, to describe people, to describe food, to describe places, to describe people's personality, or for example, to describe Enguru. And when we talk about adjectives, they can be positive or they can be negative. Not always we say, oh, wow, this is excellent. Oh, not always we say, oh, this is bad. Okay, so and then they can be comparative adjectives and then there can be superlative adjectives. So basically, now what happens when we look at positive? Let's focus on positive first. So today, I want those of you who are online, as you keep watching this, I would want you to I want you to do this for me. Suppose I give you the word my best friend. Okay, my best friend. What are the adjectives that come to your mind when you have to talk about your best friend? Okay. So, for example, I would say my best friend is handsome, or I would say my best friend is witty, my best friend is clever. So, I'm using positive words. My best friend is smart. My best friend is a smart cookie, or my best friend is a good listener. So these are positive words that I am talking about him, I'm sharing about him. But if I have to talk about negatives, then I would say my best friend, he is lazy at times. My best friend is unorganized. My best friend is indecisive at times. Okay, so I am telling about his negative attributes, his negative qualities: lazy, unorganized, indecisive. Or my best friend is, he doesn't have a good temper. He's got a bad temper. Another way of turning a positive adjective into a negative adjective is very simple, but just adding the word not, N-O-T. So, for example, my best friend is not organized. My best friend is not hardworking. Instead of, if I don't want to use the word lazy, because sometimes what happens, we run out of vocabulary. We forget, like, what is that word? When somebody doesn't work, we forget the word lazy. So you could say, my best friend is not hardworking. Okay, so these are some words. Then, when we talk about places, so for example, I would talk about, you know, I I would talk about Shimla. Okay, what kind of place is Shimla? if you have to use positive words, what kind of words would you use? Shimla is a beautiful place. Beautiful, very common word. Shimla is amazing. You can see the real beauty of nature over there. If you have to talk about the weather, it's cold. Cold, everybody uses. Can you use any other words? You could say, oh, it was freezing cold, or you could say it was nippy, or you could say, oh, my bones were rattling. Different ways of expressing the same thing. But at the same time, if you want to speak negatively about a place, you would say things like, the place is too crowded, or the place is too, um, too messy, or you could say the food isn't great there. So again, negative words we are using to talk about a place. So crowded is one, messy is there, it's too noisy. Like if you go to Mall Road in Shimla, it's actually, and why Mall Road? I mean, most tourist places, if you go, they're very noisy. Or you could say it's very dirty. Okay. So while we speak about the positive things, that the view is breathtakingly beautiful and the air is so fresh and the people are so wonderful, but there is also a time when you have to speak about the negatives of that place. And that is when we use words like dirty, messy, crowded, unorganized. Okay. So this is how we do it. So we're talking about places. Now, for example, food. Now, food is an important part of everyone's life, right? So, if someone invites you or you go to a place to eat, you go out, then you come back and say, wow, the food was so tasty. Oh, it was so yummy. Oh, it was finger licking good. It was delicious. It was tasty. So, these are positive words that we are again using positive adjectives to describe the taste of the food. However, I'm sure all of us have had this experience where the food was not really good. And then how do you express it? Then you could say, the food, it was so bland. The food seemed stale. Um, or you could say, the food was tasteless. Hmm? Okay. So, as we do this activity, so I mean, when you watch this video, I'd be very happy if you can share your comments and let us know if any other words that come to your mind. So that's about food when we spoke about the positive ways of describing food and the negative ways of describing food. So for those of you who've just joined in now, we have spoken about what are adjectives, which are describing words. Then we've spoken about why are adjectives important and why should we have a variety of adjectives that we can use in our day-to-day life, using the common words of beautiful, nice, good, okay. It's too boring now. We have to move up from there. And then we spoke about describing qualities of people, which is positive qualities and as well as negative qualities. A tip to remember is, if you run out of vocabulary and you don't know how to um, hi Prince, and if you don't know how to say a bad thing about someone, like Prince, you're here in the class. If I want to say, oh, Prince is punctual, but it is 8 minutes past 7, and Prince, you have come in now. So how would I turn that into a negative adjective? I would say Prince is not so punctual. So, not. The moment you use the word not before an adjective, you change the adjective, a positive adjective, into a negative adjective. So, Prince, if you have any comments, please share. I'd be happy if you can start interacting. Then we also spoke about how do we describe places. Okay, places. So for example, certain places in India, all places are nice, but certain places are not so nice. For example, it was a very nasty place. It was a very orthodox place, or it was a very crowded place, it was a very noisy place. Okay, so that's about negative words that we use when we are describing a place. We could also use positive words to describe a place, like nice, beautiful, again, the boring words. The view was good, it was an exciting place, and like that. So I'm waiting for some Prince and Shrishti, if you're in class, if you would like to share some comments, that would be great. So those are about places. Then we spoke about food. So yummy, delicious, finger licking good, awesome, um, scrumptious. These are words that we use to talk about food. Okay, and I think this is a very important part of our lives because today the world survives on reviews. If you want to order something from Zomato or Swiggy, the first thing that we do is we look at the reviews. Okay, now what do the reviews say? They would say, "Ah, food is nice, food is good." But when we see bigger words, they say, "Ah, yeah, this must be nice." And if I may also add over here, when we buy clothes, oh wow, we really depend on why clothes. Anything online, we really depend on these adjectives. For example, when I went to buy a TV online, I checked Amazon, I checked Chroma, and I checked Reliance, and I was reading all the feedback that was mentioned over there. And whichever person had used the highest number of adjectives, I was like, wow, that must be really nice. But if you read the feedback and it just says nice, it was a nice thing. Oh, nice. Oh, not so great. That means, I mean, you don't get so impressed. But when, like, if there are any ladies in the class, or even men, why penalize the women? Even men, when we go shopping on Mintra, the first thing we read the reviews. Was it comfortable? Oh, okay, that's a good one. Was the fitting good? Ah, that's nice. So our mind is such that when we see a variety of adjectives, we automatically get impressed. I mean, imagine if you're talking to someone and they ask you about your hometown. So, Prince, I know you're in the class, and the second person, whoever's there, if you can please drop me a hi, I know your name, please. So, if you have to talk about your hometown, for example, if I tell you I'm from Nainital, and Prince would ask me, "How is Nainital?" Ah, Nainital is a nice place. Okay, that means she probably doesn't like it too much. But if I start praising my hometown with a huge variety of words, you automatically get impressed. You're like, wow, really? Okay, what's next? Some more? Really? So, our human mind is designed in such a way that we get attracted by good things. Why not? That's the way life is supposed to be. So, when we talk about places, when we talk about people, when we talk about food, especially these three things are very important part of our life, we focus a lot on the adjectives. And that is why today's topic is let's add adjectives. Because when you add adjectives, you not only um, build interest in the other person to listen to you, you also prove yourself to be a man rich in vocabulary. We say he's rich in his vocabulary. Like if you look at Sashi Tharoor, I dare not compare myself with him. He's like there and I'm here. But when Shashi Tharoor speaks, I'm like awestruck. That's a word. Literally, my jaws drop. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, that's a word? Okay. Oh, somebody is Cedric. Hi, welcome. So Cedric is from Africa. So Cedric, why don't you do something for me? Since you said hi to me, you can send me a small list of adjectives that you would use to describe your country. That would be nice. Since I don't know anything, this is your opportunity to impress me about your country. So, for example, if I have to tell you about India, I'd say, wow, India is a beautiful country. We have a wide variety of culture. Our cuisine is awesome, it's scrumptious. We are blessed with beautiful beaches and lush and beautiful forests and high mountains. Now you would be like, ah, I must come to India. So, that is the beauty of using adjectives. As I mentioned earlier, I'm also going to be talking about comparative adjectives. Now, I'm sure you know that adjectives are of three kinds: the adjectives and the normal form. Then we go to a comparative, and then we go to a superlative. Comparative is when you're comparing two things. Okay, for example, chocolate ice cream. I'm sure a lot of us love ice cream. I love ice cream myself a lot. So chocolate ice cream, and then we have strawberry ice cream. So I would say chocolate ice cream is tasty. Point taken. But when I have to compare two things, then I would say chocolate ice cream is tastier than strawberry ice cream. So that adjective will help me to compare. Okay, for example, um, let's talk about Jennifer Lopez. She's beautiful, everyone knows. And then we have Angelina Jolie. She's also beautiful. So, Prince, you may say Angelina Jolie is beautiful, pretty. But then the other lady, whose name did I take? Jennifer Lopez. Angelina Jolie is prettier than Jennifer Lopez. So, what are you doing? You are comparing. If you do not have enough vocabulary, if you do not know enough adjectives, you would end up saying, she's better looking. Yeah, better looking sounds all right. But if you if you tell someone she is prettier than him, really? I mean, her, sorry. Okay. Or for example, I have a car, I have a Hyundai, and Cedric has a BMW. Okay. Cedric, can you tell me what kind of a car you have? So suppose I want to tell them about the price. Now Hyundai is expensive, but BMW is more expensive. So adjectives help me to compare. So if someone would ask me, Zinia, why do you have a Hyundai and why don't you have a BMW? Well, a Hyundai is cheaper than a BMW. So cheap, the comparative form of it is cheaper. So when we use words of this kind, just limiting yourself to learning the word cheap is not going to be effective because you need to learn how to compare. So that is where the word cheaper comes into your mind. And if you remember it, you would always be able to use it. More expensive, cheaper. This is tastier. So my somebody would ask me, how was the noodles today? It was tasty, but I think my mother makes tastier noodles. So, again, what am I doing? From the word tasty, I started using the comparative form of the adjective and I started using the word tastier. So, using a adjective in its normal form, perfectly all right. But when you use it in the comparative form, then you are able to give your judgment about different things. Okay. There are so many spoken English apps. Enguru is definitely better. So from good, Enguru is good. Enguru is better than XYZ. I can't take names. Okay. So that is the beauty of using comparatives. Okay. And this, trust me, this is so important because in today's life, all of us compare things, everything. I mean, right from ordering food on Zomato, we look at the ratings, or from ordering clothes online, we look at the reviews, we try to understand a 4.1 versus a 4.5. Again, there's a comparative. So we decide. So comparison is a part of our life when we decide for schools, when we decide for colleges, when we decide for houses. Where do you want to live, which area you want to live in, or for example, okay, so Cedric says people are kindly. Cedric, the word would be kind. Kindly is another word. Kindly becomes, it's like, Cedric, would you kindly do this for me? Kindly means please. Okay, so you could say people are kind. That's a good response. Thank you. Prince and Shrishti, if you're in class, if you're attending this session, those of you attending, I would request you to share your comments. That would make the session really interesting. See, interesting, another adjective. Rather, let me say this would make the session more interesting. All right. So thank you, Cedric, for that. So comparatives, important. When you go to office and you say, hey, how was the Spider-Man movie? It was nice. Was it better than the other one? Yes, definitely. Yes, thank you, Cedric. That's a good job. So I would say, I think the first Superman was better than all of them. Oh, hey, did you see Avengers? Yeah, they're kind of interesting, but I think maybe some other movie that was more interesting. So, comparative. When you compare, you are able to give your opinion about something. Otherwise, you are limiting yourself by saying good, nice, okay, beautiful. You have to break the shackles and move out and start using a lot more. They say, right, variety is the essence of life. So if you want variety in your clothes, in your food, in your job, then why not have variety in the adjectives you use? Why deprive yourself? Okay. And then when we come towards the last part that I wanted to talk about is superlative. Superlative is basically highest degree. Um, Enguru is a good app, normal. Enguru is better than other apps, comparative. Enguru is the best. Whenever you use a superlative form of the adjective, we always use the word, the article, the before that. Okay, so Enguru is the best. All right. For example, I bought a. Did you buy this? Yeah, I bought. Did you buy an Apple phone? Yeah, I did. Was it expensive? It was the most expensive phone I ever bought. So the most expensive. So wherever you're using a superlative, the article the immediately comes before that. Only for superlative adjectives, nowhere else. You cannot say the good. You cannot say the better. You only say the best. Like, for example, Mount Everest. Mount Everest is a high mountain, but the correct way of saying it would be Mount Everest is the highest mountain of the world, the highest. All right. Or, for example, who do you love the most? The most. I love my mother the most. Again, you're using the with most. Okay. So superlatives are important to give your ultimate decision. This is the best prawn curry I've had in ages. Wow, really? The best. Um, this is the dirtiest city I've ever been to. Dirty. Instead of saying dirty, so when I say dirty, it's like, okay, dirty. But the moment I say this is the dirtiest city I've been to, really bad. This is the most amazing hill station I've ever been to. I have been to many hill stations, but this is the most amazing hill station I've ever been to. So when we use the word the before an adjective, the superlative form, this is the ultimate. This is the highest point that one can reach. Okay, India is facing the warmest summer in 50 years, the warmest. So here we are emphasizing that it is really hot. Okay, so those of you are still watching, I'm happy for that. And those of you are listening but not saying anything, that's fine, no problem. I'm sure you will need time to understand all this and then start sharing your comments. So what we have done so far, I'll do a quick recap. We started with the definition of an adjective, which describes or adds more information about a noun. Then we moved on to talk about what are the different, why do we need to use an adjective? Because we need to give more information and be interesting and make people really understand or help them to feel what you felt. Okay, for example, I am feeling bad, I'm feeling really bad. You know, when you're saying that, it adds more value to what you're saying. People start listening to you. The third thing that I talked about was there are different forms of adjective when you're talking about people, places, food, and so many other things. So a adjective can be positive or it can be negative. In case you run out of words and do not know how to make a negative um, adjective, you simply need to add the word not. Like, this is expensive, and you've forgotten the word cheap. You simply put, this is not expensive. This is hot, but it is not hot. Then what do you say? This is not hot. Okay. So a simpler way of doing it is just by adding the word not before an adjective to turn it into a negative adjective. So that's done. Then we spoke about comparative adjectives. We use comparative adjectives because we want to give more information or share our opinion about something. All right. This basically helps us in understanding and emphasizing the value of something that you're looking forward to. I want to buy this because this is more economical than this. So whenever you're doing comparison, for sure you have to use the word than as well. I hope you know that. And then the last part that I spoke about is superlative adjectives. Whenever we use superlative, which is the highest form of any adjective form, we use the article the before it. Mount Everest is the highest mountain in the world. My mother is the most beautiful lady in the world. This is the most interesting session of my life. People from Africa are the most are the kindest people in the world. So different ways of using the adjective in the highest form is called the superlative. So I hope this session has been helpful. And after this session, whenever you talk to somebody, please make sure that you fill up your sentences, your vocabulary with loads of adjectives. Wherever needed, use negative. Wherever needed, use positive. Compare and do not forget to use the with the superlative adjective. That is so important. So thank you everybody for watching this live session, and I hope this really helps all of you, and I hope to see you again. Thank you everyone. Bye-bye.